Leah Marie. Welcome to the Find Me the Money podcast. I am so excited to talk with you today.
Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here. I get to hang out with you for a little while.
I know. Well, we've got the podcast is pretty new. And as you know, I focus on money and divorce. And a lot of our episodes are about exactly that. But it was important to me that we also address other topics related to divorce because it's not all about the money. Of course, the money is a hot button issue, but I wanted to talk about some other things too. And so I thought you would be an awesome guest to have here. So I want to give our listeners a little bit of an introduction to you. Leah Marie Mazer is a certified divorce recovery coach, and she's the founder of Mindfully Ready. She specializes in helping women find inner peace, happiness, and self-love after divorce. She also provides a safe, judgment-free community for women rebuilding after divorce in her private Facebook group, Divorced and Empowered. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I love hearing about your Facebook group. I think that support groups are so important going through divorce because it's a very isolating process.
Yes,
And
huge.
being able to lean on people who are going through what you're going through is super important. And rebuilding after divorce, I think, is a really critical time for people.
Yeah, I wish I had a support group when I was going through my divorce. I definitely felt isolated. I felt like nobody could really understand. It's not common that you're going through a divorce and somebody close to you in your life is going through a divorce at the same time. Like usually you're going through it on your own. And even if somebody in your life has been through it before, your experience can be so different. Your marriage can be different. The divorce process can be very different. So being able to connect with other people who are having similar experiences, it makes you feel so much more supported till you can lean on them, ask questions, kind of hear what worked for them, what didn't work for them. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
One of the things that I see in the online support groups is even if you yourself are not sharing your story and asking for feedback or things like that, just being able to see and hear the stories of other women who are going through it makes you feel better. Sometimes it's that they are involved in a mess and comparatively, maybe your own situation doesn't seem quite as burdensome. Or maybe it's someone who really is having the same difficulty or like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that there were others going through this too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also the power of group coaching too. Is like when you're in a group coaching setting, it's usually, a smaller intimate group and people are asking questions that pertain to you and maybe you didn't think of asking or that you were embarrassed to ask. And so you can learn so much from other people who are going through similar things.
So, as we are kicking off our conversation today, I like to ask at the beginning, where can people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to follow you on social media?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, which is mindfullyready.com. And I'm on lots of the social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can find me on there. And if you click the link in my bio, that takes you to all of my options and services and resources.
You're kind of a big deal on TikTok, let's be honest.
I have a very nice following on TikTok.
Yep. And what kind of stuff do you like to share there? What do you find really resonates with people who are on TikTok?
I feel like TikTok does the best when I'm just talking about real stuff, things that happen to me personally, things that are happening with my clients or women in the support group. I just love to share some of the best tools that I have. I try to, give as much value as I can and share things that either have helped me or obstacles I see someone else facing and just giving them new perspectives because sometimes that makes all the difference. If you're in a situation that you can't change, changing your perspective of the situation can change how you feel about it so that you can move forward.
Right. Coaches always say that we can't control what other people do. We can't necessarily control what the situation is, but we can control our reaction to it.
Absolutely. That's it. That's the bicep curl. Yep.
So you work exclusively with women who are recovering from divorce. And so first I want to talk about what do we mean by recovering from divorce?
So I help my clients with all the mental and emotional stuff that comes up. I feel like divorce has two buckets. There's the business bucket and then there's the emotional bucket. And so I don't do anything with the legal process, but I help you through all of those feelings. I mean, you're riding an emotional roller coaster when you're going through it, whether it's guilt, shame, feelings of failure, low self-worth and low self-esteem. So I'm there to kind of uncover why you're feeling stuck and where you're at, where you want to go, and then help you by giving you actionable steps to get to where you want to be so that you can start feeling better. Because divorce, yes, it sucks and it's an ending of sorts, but it is also a beginning, and it can be that launch pad for a really amazing life if you take the time to do that inner work that you need to so that you can feel good about yourself again.
But don't you find as women are in the process of divorce that there's a lot of skepticism? Like they feel like, oh, sure, it's easy for you to say, oh, it's a new beginning. There's life on the other side. But right now, I'm so far into the negativity of what I'm experiencing that that just sounds like a pipe dream to me.
That does happen. I think it helps a lot that I've been through it twice, so I get it, and so people trust me. Like I can say, yes, I've been there too, and I feel like I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. But you have to believe that it's possible. Maybe you can't see the light, maybe you don't know how realistic it is, but you have to at least have a small inkling that it is possible. Otherwise, I mean, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. No book, no podcast, no guru is going to help you if you've already decided that there's no getting better from here.
Right. So why women and why divorce?
So divorce because I've been through it twice myself. I know a lot about it. I can relate to my clients. I've made all the mistakes. I can cut out a lot of the trial and error for people. So it was during COVID that I was working from home and I was homeschooling my daughter. Everything was closed and I was just really unhappy with my career, and I knew I wanted to do something that meant something to me and that gave me like that I was passionate about. And so life coaching had kind of come into my lap, and I was like, what is this life coaching thing? I hear about this, it seems interesting. And so the more I read, I just fell in love with it, and I was like, "Oh my god, like I do this for free now. I need to be doing this. This is meant for me. This is what I was born to do." So I got some certifications, and when I started my business, all of the research I did and the coaching I had, business coaching and marketing research, they say, you can't help everybody. If you try to help everybody, you're not going to help anyone. So you have to really decide what specific audience you want to help. And so one of the questions was, what do you know a lot about? What can you walk into a room and talk about for an hour? And it was like divorce. I've been there, I've done it, I know it. And I know all the struggles and obstacles, and I also know how to get yourself to the other side. And so that was when I decided that that was who I was going to help, and that's where I was going to focus, was helping other women through the same things that I had to go through.
So women only, no men.
So it's funny that you asked that. So yes, up until this point, yes, but I have collaborated in recent months with another coach who I've become really good friends with, Samantha Boss. I don't know, some of your listeners might follow her also on social media. And she's amazing, but she specializes in high conflict divorce and helping clients make parenting plans. So we do very different things. But there has been a demand from men. There are men that are reaching out to us, emailing us, commenting on our posts, and asking if we also help men. So we are in the process of launching something soon where we'll also be able to help men. But the majority of our clients are moms. They're usually women with kids.
Well, in my experience with the Divorce Money Guide, I created the Divorce Money Guide as a gender neutral product. Both men and women can use it. And we initially, when it launched a little more than a year ago, we were marketing gender neutral as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found was that women are the ones who want it and need it and are buying it by far.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, I made the decision that we were going to change our marketing and market only to women. And it doesn't mean that we have anything against men. It doesn't mean that we don't recognize that women can hide and steal money just as well as men can. But it's
Right.
who is responding and who is reaching out to us for help? And it's women. So that's who we're speaking to. And it's been interesting, the reaction on social media, because there are some angry men out there who are
Oh,
upset
girl.
that I'm not speaking to them.
I know it. I know it. Yeah, there are a lot of men who don't like the message that I share either. They don't There are people to this day who still don't believe that divorce should even be an option. And that's fine. And, they're entitled to their own opinion. I do not share that opinion, and I am definitely one who would support someone through it if that is the road that they feel in their heart that they need to be taking.
Right.
So I don't see anything wrong with divorce.
When do you start working with someone? Is it during their divorce or is it after the divorce is over?
Most of my clients are post divorce. I do have women that come to me when they're on the precipice of divorce and just essentially need their feelings validated, because maybe they're not getting support or they just feel so guilty and they don't know when to, quote unquote, throw in the towel. But most of my clients are on the tail end, or the divorce process is already finalized and they're trying to regroup essentially.
We are then trying to figure out what that life is going forward, how we create that new life. Where do we start the work? What are we going to focus on?
Yeah. So, a big part of that is focusing on self care. And it's not just going and getting mani pedis or like taking bubble baths. I mean, those are fun and those are nice to do, but I'm talking the basics. If you're somebody who's gone through a divorce, most likely you've put yourself on the back burner because you've been in like survival mode trying to get through that process. So you've got to put your focus back on you and take better care of yourself. Are you getting quality sleep? Are you drinking enough water and eating foods that nourish you? Are you getting outside? Are you exercising? All of those things are a form of self care and self love, and it's going to help you boost your self esteem. Also, like exercise is releasing all those happy chemicals in your mind. Getting the quality sleep is going to help you with your focus, it's going to help you with your energy levels, and process your emotions. I mean, I'm sure you've had those days where you didn't get enough sleep, and you're like, you're putting the ice cream in your purse and your keys in the freezer, kind of thing. Like your brain is not working well when you're low on sleep, and so basic self care and getting yourself off the back burner is step one in shifting your focus and trying to take better care of yourself after a divorce.
I love that. So, if let's say someone isn't in a position to hire a coach or hire a therapist, but they're saying, I want to know, is there are there a couple of things that I can really focus on that can set me on this path towards recovering after divorce? And so I think one of them is focusing on some self care, but are there a couple other
Mhm.
things that maybe would be critical for someone?
Totally. So, a huge part of what helped me after my divorce was cultivating self awareness, because you don't want to keep making the same mistakes. You don't want to find yourself in the same situation you just got out of, right? You want to have a clear understanding of who you are and why you feel the way you feel or why you have the certain beliefs that you have. So doing things like journaling is a huge tool that you can use. And for those of you who are listening who've been in therapy, I'm sure that your therapist have said the same thing. I've had a therapist tell me I should be journaling. It's a really great tool because anybody can do it, and it helps you get clear on your own thoughts. Sometimes when everything's just floating around in your brain, it's hard to make sense of. So when you can get it out of your mind and onto paper and you see it in black and white, you can see patterns, you can make sense of things. It's a way to track your progress. I've heard so many times clients come to me and feel like, why am I still so upset? I feel like I should be further along. I feel like I should be over this by now, right? And they forget how much progress they've really made and how far they have come, because healing is not linear. It's not like each day you're better and better. It's more like a roller coaster ride. And so journaling is a way to track that progress as well. Also, take advantage of all those free resources out there, the books, the podcasts, the free support groups. All of that stuff can help you with whatever you're struggling with. Coaching is when you want somebody who's going to give you more customized, personalized guidance and steps to get you to where you want to go. But there's still so much stuff that can help you when you dive into it.
I love that. So, what about women who struggle with being alone? Because that is one of the huge fears coming out of divorce. One of the things that I see in the online support groups where women are saying, gosh, I'm older now. I have these kids. I'm past my prime. Especially when their husbands, maybe they've had a breakup because their husband had an affair, potentially with a younger woman, because that's pretty typical. And so we have women who are afraid of being alone, think that they might be alone for the rest of their lives. What kind of advice do you have for them?
Mhm. Yes, you will not be alone for the rest of your life. And so, one of the best things that you can do is try to find hobbies and creative outlets. That is how you're going to get to know yourself. It's going to build your confidence. It's going to pass the time, and it's going to open up opportunities for you to meet new people, like-minded people. After my second divorce, or as my marriage was crumbling, essentially, I decided I wanted to join a band. I had always loved to sing, and I was always terrified of singing in front of people. But I was saying to myself, you know what? New chapter, new you. You're going to try something different. So I pushed myself way outside of my comfort zone. I found a local cover band who was auditioning for lead vocalist. So I signed up for the audition. I drove 45 minutes to the audition, sweating profusely and shaking out of fear. But I got up there and I did it, and I gave it all that I could, and I ended up actually getting the part. And now years later, I'm still in a band. It's a different band, but I'm still doing it, and I love it so much. And so it's like, do the things that you're naturally drawn to. Try and explore and experiment and discover. It's like there really is a buffet for you. And when you have this desire or this push or this draw to something specific, there's a reason that that's there, because everyone's different. Maybe you want to learn how to horseback ride. Maybe you want to take a dance class. Maybe you want to travel solo or do some photography. That is the time when you're recovering from a divorce and you're trying to figure out who you are and like find yourself and find your people. Getting into those creative outlets and hobbies is a really, really healthy way to do that, and you have a lot of fun doing it too.
But I think sometimes women think of a hobby and they think it's got to be this big, grandiose thing. Well, I could never join a band, or I'm not involved in a certain craft or something like that. But these hobbies don't have to be anything structured, they don't have to be anything special. Maybe you just like to ride your bike around town. Maybe you like
Totally.
to go thrifting. Those are
Yes, you
hobbies.
can
Like,
crochet. I mean, you can scrapbook. I mean, whatever it is, there are like limitless options for you. It's just about finding the things that you enjoy, like what brings you joy, or what kinds of things excite you when you see them or hear about them, and then try all of those kinds of things. And again, that can lead you to other groups of people, or other people. You're opening yourself up to those, to that opportunity to possibly meet like-minded people.
right. A hobby doesn't have to be anything special. It just has to be not work and not taking
Yeah.
care of your kids, right?
Yeah, yeah. So just something that you enjoy doing. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that helps you get out there and meet other people. And I feel bad when women are saying, I'm going to be alone forever. There's a lot of people in this world. I always like to say there's someone out there for everyone. Whatever your weirdness is, whatever your different interests are, there's someone out there who likes the same things. It's just a matter of
Yes,
finding them.
100%. And the right person isn't going to care that you've been divorced. They're not going to care. So that was my limiting belief. It was after my divorce. So by the time I was 36, I had two divorces under my belt. So I thought, who's going to want me now? I have all this baggage. I'm only getting older, right? But that's just simply not true. You know, I ended up finding somebody who is the love of my life. It's the healthiest relationship I've ever been in by far. And he didn't care at all that I had been divorced. So the right person isn't going to care. That is something that is just a part of your story. That is not who you are.
So I want to bring this to a close by asking you one really big question. And it's a really important one. And it is, what is the biggest mistake that women make after divorce?
I would say the most common mistake that I see is hopping into a relationship too soon. I did it. That's how I wound up with my second divorce. And I get it. I mean, it makes sense because you are lonely and you are scared that you're going to be alone. And maybe you had come out of a relationship where you haven't had that intimacy in a while, or you need a confidence boost and you need that attention from someone else. But the best advice I can give you is, there is no formula. Everyone loves to ask me, well, how long do I have to wait? Right? When is the right time? There is no magic formula, but when you get yourself to a place where you feel whole and happy and fulfilled all by yourself, that is the best place to be in to find your ideal partner. Because then when you date, you are not going to have any attachment to an outcome. You are going to have high standards. You are going to have strong deal breakers. And you're going to look for somebody who fits into your life, somebody who adds value to your life, as opposed to trying to find somebody that fills a void that you have within you.
Ooh, that is such powerful stuff because it is lonely after divorce. And it's very easy to meet someone and to see all the ways that they are that your ex wasn't. And then to feel like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, this is the one, right?
Right.
And I always feel like you need a certain amount of distance from your prior marriage to just get perspective and sort of reset to what do I really want and who am I without a partner? Who am
Yeah.
I to be able to bring myself, my best self, to that next relationship?
100%. Absolutely. I agree.
I love the work that you're doing. I love that you support women coming out of divorce because there is such a need there. And I'm so grateful that you joined us today for the podcast because I know that there is a lot of information provided today that will be so helpful. So tell us again where to find Leah Marie and Mindfully Ready.
Yes. So you can visit my website, mindfullyready.com, or you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. My handle is @mindfullyready.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.